should be live now.
Okay. So we're now broadcasting this meeting live on YouTube. Good evening, Cabinet members and officer colleagues. Welcome to the September meeting of the Cabinet, which I think is our first one since July, because we generally don't meet in August. So it feels like quite a while. Have we any apologies for absence?
No, Chairman, no apologies.
Thank you. Declarations of interest? None. Minutes of the last meeting have been circulated. Is there anything on page 5 of the pack? 6, 7, 8, and 9. Is it your wish then that we approve these as a true record?
Agreed.
Right. Thank you. Chairman's announcements. Just remind people that tomorrow night we have a meeting of the Shadow Authority, so we should all meet again tomorrow night. That's all. And can I continue to thank all the officers and for all the help and support that we've been getting during the past number of weeks. I think we're beginning to get into this sort of business as unusual, but nonetheless, it still places quite a lot of strains and stresses on a number of people in a number of places, and we continue to be grateful for what everybody does everywhere. It was a shame, and we were planning to do something to say thanks to the environmental health people and the bin men and the crew up at Tove on Friday morning, but once the restrictions got tightened, whilst it wasn't necessarily illegal, it was probably not in the spirit of things, and that we would have had an unnecessary gathering. So I think they still had their bacon butties for their staff briefing, but nonetheless it was a bit of a shame not to get there, but I think it was probably the best thing to do in the circumstances. So we move on to item 5, which is the quarterly risk report. Peter.
Thank you, Chairman. The first quarter's report, as you would have expected, shows the situation significantly affected by the effects of COVID-19. The forecast financial outturn at the end of the first quarter shows there is an overspend of 539,000, and this will have risen in the latest report to 636,000. The total additional cost to the council as a result of the pandemic is over 2.3 million. Now, this is in part offset by government grant funding of 1.2 million, and taking out the exceptional COVID costs, we would have actually be forecasting at this stage now an actual underspend of 73k. The increase in the COVID-19 costs are a result of increasing expenses in areas such as housing and leisure, together with the loss of income in relation to fees, charges and the leisure centre. We now have a phased reopening of the leisure centre and an increase in planning fee income. Central government has now published the details of the further grant funding for fees and charges and leisure, which we hope will go a little way to help mitigate this pressure, hopefully not in a specific and limited way. We are, though, in potentially a perilous state. We see the rate of COVID infections rising at the same rate as they did at the beginning of the year. The R number is over 1, putting us at level 4 in the government scale. Whilst thankfully we have only seen a small number of cases in South Northamptonshire, we should remember that we do not exist in isolation and have recently seen worrying increases in both Northampton and Oxford. It is not unreasonable to consider that a new total lockdown may come with the associated economic impact, and things may well get worse before they get better. In addition, we are forced to anticipate with much trepidation the impacts of Brexit in less than 4 months' time. The good news that the economy bounced back 6% is likely to be short-lived and will curtail potentially the government's ability to further support councils and businesses. It is therefore important that we exercise extreme prudence in our finances going forward. not only to maintain our services to residents, but to ensure we pass over our assets to the Unitary Council in the best possible state. Now, the capital programme is just forecasting a slight underspend of 330,000. And as you would expect with the finance performance, has been impacted by COVID-19. There are 6 performance indicator exceptions as a result. Protecting the build heritage is at amber for June and the year to date. Housing applications are being processed slow and is red for both June and year to date. But a new officer has joined the team and significant improvements are starting. Disabled facilities grant is red for June and year to date, and COVID guidelines have reduced our ability to assess these claims. However, the rules were relaxed in June and things are improving. Affordable homes delivery is amber for June and year to date, with COVID significantly slowing down new builds. And whilst council tax collection is green for June and amber year to date, we are about to institute more robust recovery action. And business rates collection, again, green for June and red year to date. And we will be contacting people to get those arrears paid as soon as possible. All leadership risks remain under control with robust mitigation to ensure that none of them are rated at this stage at high. Now, the full report gives details of the activities that the council has been conducting during the first quarter, with all our staff giving above and beyond to support both residents and businesses in the district. And the final part of the report is a quarterly review of complaints against the council, which, while higher than usual, should be noted that only 1/3 relate to a single planning issue, and only at the moment, 1/4 are upheld, and the learning points have been noted and acted upon. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, any questions for Peter? Oh, sorry, I should have asked Martin, have you anything that you want to add to what Peter has said?
Just to emphasise the point that Peter made, Councillor Rawlinson made about the fees and charges guidance that's come through, and we're just working through what the impact of that will be, because that will reduce the outstanding deficit we've got at this point in time.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so are we noting this? Yeah, so the recommendations, note the quarterly performance risk and finance reports. So duly noted. Great. Thank you. Item 6, referrals to the community funding panel. I noticed that we have numerous pink papers supporting these, so we have to move into private session, then we'll have to do that. But people wish to keep their remarks to things that are on the public part of the agenda. Well, if there are detailed things that we need to get into, then we can certainly do it. So Peter again. In fact, I think this whole agenda is yours, Peter.
I think it is. Thank you. Community funding panel met in late August, and there were a large number of applications which were due in part because of the gap we placed in getting new funding policies sorted out. And then we were just about ready to go again, and COVID-19 occurred. The applications we received in August totals some 1.5 million, and the panel agreed to recommend 550,000 of these. 6 of these are above the officer delegation figures and require cabinet authorisation, which is the Ability Community Interest Company, Boddington Parish Council, Citizens Advice Bureau, Renew 169 Wellbeing Cafe, South Northamptonshire Youth Engagement, and the Toaster Studio Band. If we make these grants, there is still money in the pot for at least one more round of funding for applications this year. Okay, thank you. That's all I want to say on that one.
Any questions on any of these? Are we happy to support the grants panel's recommendations then that these higher value items be approved by Cabinet? Great,
Thank you for that.
thank you. So that's the end of our public session. So there are no urgent items that I've been made aware of. So I will now move that we exclude all press and public. And can we please stop the live streaming on YouTube? Oh, sorry, we need to put that formal proposition. So are we agreed that we move into private session?
Agreed.
Agreed. Thank you. So Diana, can we stop the live YouTube?